Harmonized Pod, where we talk all things about being black,
being a woman,
being a wife,
being a mommy,
being a performer,
being a Christian, and all the things.
Right, and how that's all supposed to work together and harmonize.
Ooh. Guess what, y'all? Good day. Guess what? Guess where we are? The Karamu House. The Karamus, y'all. People who are from Cleveland should know a little history about Karamu. Take it away, Miss Nina.
You are so funny. People who are not from Cleveland need to know.
Yes.
People in Cleveland know, but people who are not from Cleveland need to know.
But everybody does not know.
Everybody
so please
does
tell
not.
them.
I will. Okay. Now, I learned about Karamu House, Theater Incorporated, when I was in undergraduate school at Dillard University of New Orleans, DU. And, we were studying all things black theater. And Karamu is the oldest black theater in the country. And it started as a settlement house.
That's right.
Y'all can look that up to figure out what that is. But we have lots of settlement houses in Cleveland.
Yeah.
The music settlement. There was an art settlement at one point. Rainey Institute was one of the settlement houses. And basically, it was a training ground for actors, dancers, musicians, visual artists, and became really well known for its theater. And pretty much anybody, any black film star who also does theater, that is, I would say like age 45 and up, that is considered like black theater royalty, black film royalty, has graced the stage of Karamu House. There was a day and a time when you had to pass through the Kmu.
Yes, that's right. If you wanted to be somebody,
absolutely,
you want to get somewhere,
wake up and pay attention.
Wake up and pay attention to Karamu.
And so
that was the place.
We have entered Karamu's 102nd season.
Yes, drum rolls.
Yes, and
sparks, flyers.
You are so goofy. And the show that has opened the season is entitled Simply Simone. It is about the life and music of the incomparable.
And yes, come on.
The fabulous.
Yes. I'm doing the figurine.
Right, all of the things. Miss Nina Simone. And the show has 4 actresses who portray Nina in different phases of her life, and we have 2 of them we got to interview for Harmonized Pod. They are both professional performers, and guess what else? Mommies.
They're mommies. Oh my gosh! I think one of them is a new mommy.
Yes, one of them is a newer mommy. One is a more experienced mommy, but they are both amazing.
They are.
We have 2 of them today. I was able to interview Miss Corlesia Smith earlier today. And we are about to enter into an interview with Miss Mariama Whyte.
Yes.
And we just know that you are going to enjoy this. We are going to have
exciting.
Yeah, we're going to have links to all of their music, because Mariama is a recording artist as well. So we're going to have links to her music. If you follow us on Instagram at Harmonized Pod.
Yes.
If you follow us on Facebook at Harmonize with Nina and Kenya, you will see our we have pictures from the show, pictures of both of them. We know that you are just going to enjoy this episode. We are so excited to share this with you.
So, you know what? I wanted to talk a little bit about what Karamu means to me. One of my first memories is, I think I was about 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, when my parents took me to listen to poetry by Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee. And I remember enjoying some of the folk tales that some of the stories that they told. But I remember my dad telling me I fell asleep in the second half, and he was so glad that I did, because they got down on the second half of the show. I just remember going there, and I remember going there, my parents would take me there for Black Nativity. If any of you had gone, you would hear the African Noel, Sing Noel, which ironically, that's what my father uses to this day at CSA. He has his own arrangement that he's worked with Lafayette Carthon. They've done a rearrangement of Sing Noel, and it is the
It's a rite of passage for the choir.
It really is. I mean, even when he wanted to let the song down, they were like, no, you must sing this every Christmas, blah, blah, blah. You know, a lot of our wonderful dancers have graced Karamu. I know that we're going to be listening to Mariama Whyte today, but did you know that her aunt, Diane McIntyre,
the fabulous Dr. Diane McIntyre.
And only address her as Dr. McIntyre, y'all. She's a doctor now. But she has very strong ties with Karamu. Many of the modern dance scene, but it's the heart of the modern dance community is born out of Karamu, and you got really, really good training. Like we didn't have Alan Ailey, but we had Karamu, you know, and black dance had its place, a very strong space, and that was born in Karamu.
In fact, if you see the PBS documentary Born to Dance,
yes,
there is a big section where Diane McIntyre talks very eloquently about her experience with Marjorie Duncan,
yes,
and the Karamu dancers. So you should check that out because it's a fabulous documentary. First of all,
it is, just to give you a bit of history.
Yeah,
and this is so important because as we move forward into the future, Karamu has this renaissance that's happening, and Tony Sias, who is the CEO and the president of Karamu, is taking Karamu into the future. So
absolutely, and in terms of in every aspect of the organization, the theater, the dance, the other events, there are now jazz concerts, comedy concerts. He's been working with 12 Literary and Performing Arts Incubator to bring the poetry community. Visual art as well. It's coming. Yeah,
it's coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, Karamu was that hub of art for the black community in Cleveland, and it was a bright spot in the nation. And like any organization, you know, it had its shining moments and then its lulls and everything, and it is on the uptick of one of those shining moments again. And so this season opener, Simply Simone, it has been sold out houses. It runs through October 8th. I'm going to have ticket information, everything in the show notes. But it has really just set the tone for the rest of the season. And we are just like so excited.
It was really exciting.
Listen.
Really exciting. And I was able to go for the first time. I went to see a poetry slam with Daniel
Great Contar.
Yes, and I think you had some.
I directed it.
Yes, you directed it.
Yeah.
Okay,
because it was
something you had to do. You always into stuff, Miss Nina.
But it was a project done. It was a partnership between 12 Literary and Performance Arts Incubator and Karamu House, and the project was called Merge. And so it was a merging of these different art forms, and so our desire was to take the words of the poets and amplify them with theater and with dance and with music. So we had the three poets who are career poets, and we had a company of three actor dancers, and we had a live DJ, and we had, you know, lights added, all kind of things. So it's like, how can we amplify these words even more so that their words really, the images jumped off the page for the people. So it was a blending of two different kinds of audiences. So it was your audience that is used to listening to poetry, and then it was also your theatrical audience, and bringing those two audiences together. So it was a wonderful experience. It's an ongoing project between the two companies. So I think, you know, that's the kind of stuff Tony is doing, and
it was really great for me because you know, I hadn't been back to Karamu as a spectator in a very long time. It felt like home. To be back in the theater, and I'm just really so excited. And I think that Karamu has already begun to put this wonderful works into place. And Simply Simone, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm so excited about it because half near Cleveland has seen it already,
right?
And it's been sold out shows, so I'm a little worried that I'm not going to see it.
She's lucky she knows the marketing director of production, so he can get her in there.
Girl, I'm going to try and learn some pole dancing to see if that'll help.
Girl!
I said try and learn.
Into it.
When there's him, switch, boom. Oh! Did I get the ticket?
Kenya Woods.
No,
oh my gosh!
Seriously though, no. But I'm just I'm just looking forward to it, and I hope that you all get a chance to come out, treat yourselves to see this wonderful performance and get to know these characters because these are Cleveland natives who are doing things. It is very difficult to be an artist in the city.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let's talk.
Jump all the way in. Go on.
One of the things that's so wonderful to see was to see a theater not only open a show that's, about this favored and loved icon in the Black community who is a woman, but to see a show open a theatrical season in Cleveland with 4 Black women who are local actors, 4 Black women who and it's directed by a woman, Carolyn Jackson Smith, who runs the Black Theater Department at Oberlin University. She was one of the first directors who directed me when I got to Cleveland.
Really?
Absolutely.
When I worked with with Dr. McIntyre.
Yes.
When we did Why I Had to Dance.
Yes, and they are great friends. And so to for the show to open, to be about a Black woman, to be starring 4 Black women, to be directed by a woman, it says a lot about Tony and Karamu as an organization's commitment to making sure that our voices are heard. And 3 out of the 4 women in the cast are mothers.
Yes.
And the director is a mother. And so that's just one of those things we were like, we have to get them on that show. So we are excited for you to hear
us. They inspire
Absolutely.
us. And hopefully they will inspire you. I don't know where you are in your art world right now, but one thing I can say, and this is going back a few episodes about self-care. You have to find inspiration whenever and wherever you can. And what better way to do it than to if you live in the
go see a show.
If there's shows around you, go and be inspired by people who are living the same type of life that you're living, and find out how they do what they do, how they make it work.
So before we jump into the interviews, I'm going to play for you a little clip, which is the teaser trailer that's online, and I have a link to it in the show notes. Enjoy.
Told me months before, he said me to keep on working till they opened up the door. When you finally made it and the doors are open wide, be sure you tell them where it's at so they have no place to hide. It's the back of
So, Harmonizers, I am here today with Miss Corlesia Smith, who is one of the 4 Ninas in Simply Simone at Karamu House, and she is also a mommy. And she is also coupled up.
I am.
And so we're just going to talk to her, not only about Simply Simone, but about her experience of trying to do this harmony in life thing that we're always talking about. Fun facts about Corlesia. When she was a wee babe in high school, I had the pleasure of teaching her one summer. I am not old, you are. And I'm just saying. And I have watched her grow as an artist, and she is really like busting out in this role. It is amazing to watch, to think of you at like 14, 15 and see you now as like a real full-grown woman, like doing things. It's mind-boggling. because all of my students are my babies, but I'm like, nah, she like a full woman, like out here.
I still don't believe it.
I know, I don't. In my head, I'm still 22, so it's okay. But we have seen her like all over the place: Mercury Summer Stock, the Obama Theater, and most notably at Karamu. And so, Corlesia, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Mississippi born. I was raised with a parent in the military, so I moved around. But we settled in Cleveland, so I've been here for about 12 years.
Okay.
And, I really got into theater, more in high school. And I've been trying to do the thing ever since, mixing in other stuff along the way.
And speaking of mixing in the other stuff, so Kenya and I talk a lot about how our path hasn't been the traditional path, which is you study, you go move to New York, LA, Chicago, one of the major markets, you get an agent, you pound the pavement, and you do the thing. But we have families. So our path has been more circuitous.
Right.
It's like, well, I'm going to stop and do this, and then I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to do that thing, and I'm going to try this. Can you talk a little bit about how having a family, and your baby's still young. How old is the baby?
He's a year and a half, a little bit over a year and a half.
Okay. How that, I'm not going to lead too much with the question. How has having a baby rocked your world? Yeah.
Okay, so first off, the moment I got pregnant, I'm like, okay, well, what am I about to do? I had already been cast in a show with Obama, and I'm like, now I gotta tell them, because by the time the show went up, I was going to be about 5.5, 6 months pregnant.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So I was full on pregnant by the time we were actually performing, and I, auditioned completely different weight. So it's like, okay, so I'm probably going to gain a few pounds,
Like right here in the middle, right?
But they were super, super cool about it, and I just got into the script. But it was just like, okay, so what am I going to do about this? How how are we going to do this? And I'm also, my fiance is also a performer, so it's like, okay, so when the baby is born, who's going to be here? Who's going to be at home? Who's going to... And like that first year, he was doing a movie, and it was like, okay, well, I'll be at home right now. And I guess I was nesting, setting everything up for a little one to come.
Right.
And now, he's supporting, he's staying at home and helping with Big Boy. And I have done a few shows this year. He's kind of let me grow back into me, because you have a baby and it's like, who am I?
Right.
And I thought maybe I would go back to who I was before I got pregnant, and it's like, no, you're molding into a whole new person.
You're brand new.
Yeah, it's just like, now you need to figure out from here, like, there's no going back.
Yeah.
You have to figure out who you are from this moment. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm doing shows again. It's like, okay, this is what this feels like. All right, let me keep stretching.
Right.
Let me keep going.
How has it been? Because this is interesting. Neither my husband or Kenya's husband are performers. Now, that's not exactly true. Jonathan does do certain gigs with me. Like when I do storytelling gigs, he's my drummer. But by and large, they have what are considered more like typical people jobs. They're not weirdo artists like us. So how do you, just as a couple, like not as parents, we'll put that part on the side for a minute, how do you balance both of you being did you hear that? See, the dirty word. How do you harmonize both of you being performers? We'll bring the parenting back into it in a minute, but how does that work for the two of you? If you don't mind talking about it.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't mind. Well, right now it's kind of like, who got the spot first? whoever books on first, it's like, okay, this is my time.
Right.
So whatever you get is, second to what the time I've already locked down. So, you know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, well, you have this time locked down. This time is free. So that's pretty much how it's been so far. It's
like
just
tennis match. Y'all go back and forth. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I auditioned for this.
got cast in this. This is a go. So
okay, cool.
You're
cool.
like down on parent duty. But it's like, okay, you man the fort while I'm doing this. And then it's just,
and then he does right now primarily like film and
we just filmed a web series that we're both in called Upstairs.
Yes, plug it.
Yes. But we're not in any of the same scenes, so we're not each other's love interest. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So when he was filming, I was able to be at home, and so it's been working out somehow.
Hey, yeah, snaps to working out.
but
yeah. So how do you, if at all, because you are still like at the beginning of this kind of parenting journey, and let me tell y'all, the snapback is real when you're still in your 20s. How, if in any way, have you noticed like changes in your body since you had the baby? I know my voice changed.
Yes. Definitely.
Go ahead and see. You think of yourself as a singer. See, people keep trying to convince me that I sing, but you are a singer. Like, you do musicals for real. Like, this show has 32 songs.
But like the weird thing is, like, in my head, it's like, okay, I'm an actor, and then it's like, even the first show I auditioned for when I was like in like 8th grade, they're like, it's a play, and I was like, okay, play, no singing. I don't got to worry about singing. Right, because that's a whole nother level on the. I'm like, no. But they're like, okay, no, it's the Music Man. And it's like, I'm like, oh. But I still want to try this though.
Right.
And then I was like, oh wait, I'm into it though. Like, you know what I mean? So sometimes, like, I'm trying to figure it out, like especially once while I was pregnant, and I was still trying to voice train, and there was one point in my pregnancy where my voice was like the best ever, and I was like, if we could just stay here. And then the week after, it was like, yeah, you can't breathe anymore. He's taking up too much room. We might need to stop it. But yeah, my voice definitely got lower, and I just feel like I sit in my body completely different. And it's, now that I understand it, it's cool, but at first it was just like, wait, what did you do? What did this boy do?
My hips are different. I don't want to say. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. All right.
That's cool. Yeah, it can really like alter it. Like for me, it was, my voice deepened, like my natural speaking voice, so I had to work to find that higher register. Like now I have to think about it to be there. But yeah, it rocked my whole world. And then I did it 4 more times because I'm insane.
Survivor.
So one of the other things that we talk about a lot is staying inspired. And actually last episode we talked a lot, because we're in a very different place career-wise from where you are right now, so it's going to be interesting to talk to Mariama after talking to you. You are like at the beginning, you are what we called last episode the new hotness. No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Look, girl, embrace it. Embrace the new hotness for as long as you can. Like, how does it feel? Because right now you are in that place. I don't know if you know this. Let me tell you, Corlesia is sought after right now. People are thinking about and talking about, like, when and where and how can we use Corlesia, So are you aware of that?
I'm becoming aware.
There you go. Embrace it. But yeah, you are, I mean, you're in that new crop of like ingenues, and it's like, okay, oh, I see that. Oh, they really working. Okay, they're not out here just playing with this theater thing. They're trying to actually do it. And we were talking about, because we're mid-career, so we're in a different spot. Right. We're like, oh, we know what they can do. But you're still stretching and like saying, no, I have range. I don't only play this one kind of thing. I can do all of these different things. How do you stay inspired? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. How do you stay inspired? Like, what inspires you? Maybe that's a better question. What inspires you as an artist?
I guess it depends on what day it is. Sometimes
good answer.
even sometimes just like watching like a new thing on Netflix, where it's just like, let's just choose something random, and it's like, it's like, could I do this? You know, how, you know, what would I do differently, or what do I love about this?
Yeah.
Because I can find something I love pretty much about everything. And I feel like that's one thing, like, I can find contentment in everything. And I feel like that's one of my downfalls, as well as one of my favorite things about myself. Because, you know, you don't want to settle for anything less because you're content. It's like, you know, I could, you know, what are the other possibilities? So I continue to think about, like, what are the other possibilities? And I think that's what inspires me.
Cool. What's your favorite? This is, actors hate this question. I hate this question, but I'm going to ask it. What's your favorite role you've ever played?
I feel like the role I've been most connected to that I played is Celie in The Color Purple. Like, I feel like, you know, we all grow up watching The Color Purple, so it's like we already feel for her so deep that, you know, when I got a chance to live in that role, I was like, I was like, now I can, you know, I can share this, how deep I feel for this, you know, for this character, how, you know, or whatever it is. But I can say that, you know, researching Nina for Simply Simone it's a whole nother level of not just, because I feel like Color Purple has a lot of struggle more than it uplifts you too, but also it's been a few years since I did that show.
Right.
Like, you know, doing Simply Simone, the struggle is there, but it's also like people are just having fun with her music, and people who know her music are like, I know this song, I remember this song. So that's a whole nother, you know, audience involvement. So it's between those two, at least right now for me, that I can think of.
So the show has 4 women, a incredibly talented ensemble who all portray Nina, and you all portray different people in her life. You're all on stage the whole time, and each of you kind of represent a different facet of who she is to us. So which Nina, how would you describe the Nina that you play? Which Nina are you?
I'm Nina number 2, who is described as jazz superstar.
Yes, Corlesia wears these fabulous gowns in the show.
I love my costumes.
Yes, if you follow us on Instagram and Twitter and all the places, I'm going to have some photos from the show of the ladies so you can see and put a face to the voice. But yeah, she gets to wear these fabulous sequin gowns the whole show, and she gets down in them, honey. We were like, yes, get it. And each of you have, like, the show is so beautiful. I got to see you opening night. I'll be coming back again. But like, each of you have your featured moments where you have solos, or at least you carry the beginning of the song or a verse of the song. What's your favorite song in the show?
I don't know. Now that was a hard one. I'm like,
We are here at Karamu House Theater, and we have with us today
The fabulous,
the amazing,
the magnificent, voiced
Throat of Gold.
Yes, Throat of Gold. Yes.
Miss Mariama Whyte.
Hi. Can I say you're so amazing?
Yes, you're so
I love you. And you both are so amazing. Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Please.
I feel like this is celebrityism. You know, we all know Oprah because Mariama and the rest of the crew performed for
Stedman Graham.
Yes.
Which
no
means
idea he was there.
Wow, that's great.
After,
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna get to that question, but let me stay on task, okay? Because you know I can run and whatever. But okay, so right now you're smack dab in the middle of the run of the show. Can you paint us a picture of your life and let us know how you're able to perform, mother, run a household, do all the administrative stuff, have some peace of mind?
All of that.
Parent, all of that. Parent, grandparent, I don't know. Like all of that.
Not the grandparent.
No, we got a while. He little.
Yeah, we got
okay.
He 11. He got some time.
Okay, well,
He better. No.
Well, it is definitely a balancing act. It's been a balancing act even before I, started this rehearsal process and the run. And this is I really had to like meditate and be like, okay, okay, it's Nina Simone. I have to at least audition. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is my first run of a theater show in 9 years.
Wow.
And what was that last thing you
what
did?
was the last thing?
The Color Purple on the Broadway tour. Yes, I did the Color Purple. Right.
Yes.
So
Just that little thing.
Coloring purples.
the Coloring Purples. Silly. I've done some stage readings. I've actually done a couple here, and I've done some one-nighters. Yes. Nina and I. That was so much fun.
It
so
was.
much fun. Did Home with
Jim
friend
Pickens.
Jim Pickens from Grey's Anatomy. That was amazing.
Right.
So and of course I've done music. I've done different shows and gigs throughout the city. But I really had to wrap my mind around, especially too, because the school year was starting. My son was starting school, and I work at a school as well too. So everything started at the same time, literally, as rehearsals and the school year started the same week.
Right.
And I was like, ooh, I'm really tired. But you know what? But the process, as soon as I walk into just a few minutes ago, as soon as I come into the theater, I'm like, I'm awake. That's what the theater does for me. That's any type of creative space. I'm like, you feel the exhaustion in your body, but my spirit is just here.
Yeah.
And so it has definitely been. I mean, there are times when I have to. So for me, I really love to work out.
Yeah.
Right? So that's been my thing, for a while. But
she looks great, y'all. By the way, we're gonna show you all kinds of pictures.
Oh, you so silly.
Go ahead.
But that was something that I had to. I was like, okay, I have to really figure out what's important for this moment, and rest is most important.
Yeah.
The first couple of weeks of this. Of our run, like about a week or so before we opened, I was like so sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I woke up the Thursday of our preview with no voice.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it came, thankfully, thank the Lord. It came by the
Amen.
time, but I was just very, very, very tired. And I realized I was like, okay, let me just, it's okay to not have to work out every day,
Come on.
But I get a workout on stage. I
Yes,
mean,
you
it's an
do.
extremely physical show. So there are things that I realized that for this season, I can kind of take out because, I mean, when I get home usually from my day job around 4:15, and I just rest. I mean,
So she's allowing us to cut in on her rest.
Yeah, so I feel kind of bad. I should have brought a pillow or some lavender oil or something. Don't worry, I got you next time.
It's all right, and I pick and choose, you know what I mean?
Right.
There are certain days. Mondays are the hardest days, of course,
Yeah.
because that's, the end of the performance week. But it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. I would say this is when I had my son, I was extremely tired. I was on the road with him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And what show was that?
That was the Color Purple with that, And before Micaiah came, I did The Lion King.
Yes.
But I was in my 20s. I was my late 20s back then.
Looking and feeling like you was looking, young
it's
and hot,
like, you just wake up like, now you just wake up like,
I can have
snooze
pizza
button.
for breakfast.
Exactly. And nothing happens.
Yeah, right.
You burn it off like in 2 minutes. You be like, But it's a juggling. It's a lot, But it's so worth it, It's worth it. I love every minute. My son Micaiah, he's so patient, and my anxiety has totally. I don't have much at all. Like at first, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be gone all the time, and
right.
And for a moment, for the first week, we actually did have some separation anxiety.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, I miss my son.
Yeah,
He's like, Mom, you got to go back to the theater. And then I was like, well, I set you up some play dates, so you be always like, okay, fine. So as long as he's with his friends, he's fine. But that for me, like for that first week, I was like, wow, I'm not used to doing it. Yeah. But it's been every bit has been worth it, But rest has been like, for me, the most important for me to say, okay, I'm going to take this out, and during the time I would have done that, I'm going to take a nap.
Right, right.
And
not do the dishes.
Not
clean the corners in the house.
My room looks crazy.
Girl. Yes, thank you.
It looks crazy, and you have to figure out like what it's like. Okay, it'll get done. It looks a hot mess.
Okay,
because I go in there and all I do is sleep. That's what I do.
Right. I'm not in the middle of the show and my room looks a hot mess. At least you got an excuse.
So that's a good place to segue into this question. How did having your son
change your ideas about what your career were, and your ideas about what success is? Talk about that a little bit.
Wow, it's so funny because when I found out that it's funny. So I did The Lion King. I didn't leave because I was pregnant, but shortly after I left, like a month later, I became pregnant. And but so I left The Lion King and to move back to New York. And I was like, okay, I'm going to relaunch my career, because on the road it's extremely hard to have a career. I mean, it's a great job, but nobody really sees you in terms of the people who can say, hey, you're going to give her this job. Right. So I was like, let me move back to New York and just really launch some things for myself. And then I had just turned 30. I took a trip to Botswana. There was all the stuff that I did like in between, like leaving and going to New York. And, my grandfather had just passed at that time too, so it was a lot going on, just a lot of transition all at the same time, and then I moved, and then I conceived. I conceived the child. And then
what was your thought process with that?
Well, I was like, wow. It was. I wasn't completely surprised. Yeah, right. But I was like, wow, I'm in New York. What do I do? Like, how do I refocus? It's funny because the Lion King, they called me when I was in New York, and they were like, hey, we hear that you're in New York. Do you want, do you want to come? I was like, I would, but the costumes are going to fit in a few months, And, interestingly enough, it did not. There was no sense of, I was like, I'm about to have a baby. I was so happy. Oh, yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people were asking me, they're like, well, what's next? Because as you know, in the business, it's like if you leave a job, the first thing people, or if you're about to leave, well, what are you doing next? You can't leave a job without another job.
Oh, I know all about that right now.
You can't leave a job without another job.
That's right.
So that's what and they were like, oh, that's just not wise. And I was... And I was just like, well, I was like, well, I mean, and I kept saying to people, I said, I don't know what's next, but I'm open. Right. I'm open to what's next. And little did I know that it was a child, and I was so excited to be a mom. You know what I mean?
And he is so precious.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited to be a mom. And I wasn't thinking at all about getting back on the road. I was like, I'm going to focus on being a mother because I've never done this before, and and I had him, and still wasn't thinking about it. I was thinking about going to sleep and all that other stuff that we both know, that we all know about. Right. And
sleep is like gold.
Right. Oh my gosh. You see the bed, you're
diamonds.
Like, I love you.
Sapphire.
I love you. A friend of mine from The Lion King that I toured with called me when Micaiah was about 7 or 8 days old. And he was calling me to congratulate me. And his name is Kenny Ingram. Shout out Kenny Ingram. I love him. And he was like, I just want to say, congratulations on that baby. He was like, but I also want to tell you that there's going to be a sit-down show in Chicago. They're about to do the tour, The Color Purple. He was like, girl, you just need to pack that baby and just go. He was like, just see. He was like, because if you get it, you can take them with you, and you don't have to tour, you don't have to do a lot of traveling yet in the beginning, and so he put that little bug in my ear, and I swear before he called, I was not thinking about I wasn't thinking about that, but then I was like, well, at least give it a try,
right,
and I did, and I got a call back, and eventually got the tour, and it was just one of those things like, wow. I'm on the road again, this time with a child. And he was 7 months old, and I mean, I had so much, everything just lined up. My mother came from Cleveland to Chicago every single weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, she took the mega bus every single, and because the weekends
your life don't stop.
It doesn't stop. And you realize that everything works out. It works out. And I had, help during the week with people that I, really trusted, which was wonderful. Then once we started like traveling again, like 2 to 3 weeks here, I was like, okay, it's time to really think about, I don't know if I don't want to hire anybody 2 to 3 weeks from now. As a single mom, you really just, you want to feel like you can really trust people with your child.
That's right.
And that young too. So I decided to come back home. Everybody from the show was like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? I was like, I'm gonna be a mom. And like,
I mean, it's
it was
Cleveland.
right. And we had just
What could go wrong in Cleveland?
and it's crazy because our tour came to Cleveland, like spring of, it was about April of 2008. And it was all this construction. It was raining. Like there was nothing happening in Cleveland.
I remember that.
And everybody was like, "You from Cleveland? You from here?" So then when I said out there, like, "You going back to Cleveland?" I said, "Yes, I'm going back to Cleveland." And I came back, and I had a a heart to heart with myself, because I was like, okay, of course things will be different financially for sure, and career wise. But I had always felt like, okay, now maybe this is the time I focus on my songs, music that I had created and wanted to create, and so that really became. And I mean, I called some studio, because I didn't know anybody.
Okay,
I didn't know any musicians. Right. I mean, I had been gone for a long time, so I mean, I called up some studios. I called up people like, hey, who can I work with? And then one thing, just led to another, and I met all these amazing producers and collaborators, and then and started recording. And then just kind of building it from there. And Cleveland has been extremely supportive. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's been a lovely ride.
And then stuff happens, like you won a contest.
Right.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
What is this? Guess who she got to meet? Go on,
tell us. Go on then.
You know how on social media you'll randomly, or in your mind you're randomly saying things. And I back in February of this year, I saw. Okay, so Bob Marley is like one of my super top
Kenya's fainting.
Inspirations with not just music but wisdom and life and my father would play him all the time. Bob Marley and Miles Davis, like that was
honey,
and praise and worship music, that was
okay. There you go.
And so there was this app actually it was Instagram, and Rowan Marley, one of Bob Marley's sons, was on there saying, hey, download the Bob Marley app. And I'm like, okay, Bob Marley app. He said it. I know it's legitimate. I was like, okay, he's in the family.
I know who he is.
Right. So I'm like, let me go ahead and download it. And he just had this video saying, hey, we have this new app, and if you're a fan of Bob Marley, comment in the comment section and tell us why, and and whoever has the most creative response, whatever hits me, I'll choose you. I'll fly you up to New York. We'll have a good time. We'll put you up. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I got it.
I wish I could respond, but I'm on the floor fainting right now.
I got it.
Oh my God,
I was so.
that's
I mean, and you know how you do something, but you forget that you did it.
Yeah.
It's in the midst of a bunch. I was like, so it was like a few sentences, but I had an experience with Bob when I was very young. My father was in Columbus, and he was always throwing parties and cooking and everything like that. And Bob Marley, I don't know if he was in Columbus, but he was nearby, and he invited him to his house for an after party.
That's too funny.
I was about 3. This was like little. I know.
I'm like, I'm still like.
I keep telling y'all, we know famous people.
I know, that's right.
We know
Bob
Kelly.
Marley.
We know Kelly, who knows Pam. So now we know Lynn well.
Right, exactly.
Ava likes my tweets. We know Oprah because Stedman came to the show, and now we know Bob Marley.
You also know Debbie Allen because she likes some of my stuff too.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if she knows she likes my stuff, but she does.
And I met Oprah. Actually, I met Oprah when we did The Color Purple.
Oh my gosh. I went to the same school she did.
All right.
TTSSSU. Okay. But go on, tell us about your real experience.
When we did Color Purple, so she was the producer of it. So we opened in Chicago, and she invited us to her show. So we got a chance to meet then. And I met her some years ago with Lion King too. That was just it's just like hi Oprah.
Oh my God.
Hi Miss O. So that was really kind of cool to see Stedman. I'm like, hi Stedman Graham.
But you had an experience with
Bob. Okay, you have that. So we're back with the other celebrity. Go ahead.
We gotta go back.
Okay.
So I was about 3. This was literally one of my earliest childhood memories, like of my life. Because how far can we really go back? But I was about 3, and my dad had this party. I just remember all these people being there. I was lying on the couch, and Bob Marley was maybe maybe about 10 feet. Probably not even that far. Maybe about 5 feet ahead of me. And he was just sitting there, and it was just so many people there. And I just remember looking. I just saw all this hair. And I was sleepy, so I was kind of dozing out. He picked me up and he rocked me to sleep.
Oh,
so
my gosh, what'd you say?
What did I say?
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm a Southern girl.
Right. So that was like my Bob Marley experience.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You got rocked to sleep by Marley. Yeah. That means you not only know him, you know his entire clan.
Yeah.
And his ancestors too, probably, you know.
Right. Who's baptized.
And he gave you some voice too, probably.
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing. So it was like totally full circle. My dad is from Jamaica also, so I mean that is it was Bob Marley like all day long. So when I met Ron, it was like we were kind of like old friends. He was like, "Oh, I hear you're a singer." He was like, "Your dad's from Jamaica." I mean, we FaceTime with my father when we were there, when I was up there. It was so much fun. We jammed.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, I'm sitting here hanging out with Ron Marley. And then so there's a little video that I have on Instagram of us, jamming out. So he sent the whole video to Lauryn Hill, right? So that's the.
Oh my gosh, we know Lauryn Hill too.
Girl.
I actually do know her. Right. I saw her one time.
So they have children together, right?
I know her too.
I saw her. I think when she was.
I do know her though. Yeah. My aunt is one of their kids' godmother.
Really?
So I like. By way of
I was working at Joe's one day. I was working at Joe's pub when you was coming into the club, Miss Hill, with Mr.
because
Marley.
She's listening.
Yes, because I know you're listening. Like, you never know. She's black. She's a mother.
Hey, come on,
she's an aunt. Come on, Miss Lauryn Hill. I know you got some knowledge for us. But today we talk about Mariama, so go ahead, because she's here and we can touch her.
But it's so great. We were just sitting there in this restaurant, and I just asked. It was, finally a moment where we could just really sit and talk. And so, how's Lauryn? How's the kids? How's your family? Making a little small talk. He's like, she's great. I'm texting her now. She saw your video. She says you sound great. I'm like, what? So I'm looking. I'm like, man, if I should ask him to take a screenshot of that text thread, but I won't do that. Aww. But she was like, tell her she sounds beautiful, and I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, that was a sweet moment.
That's a wonderful compliment.
And Skip Marley, it was a great time.
Yeah. So talk about this, because we're making fun and all of that about meeting celebrities and famous people and people who we
we're
like,
not stalking you guys, by the way.
Right. But it's just exciting.
It's absolutely exciting. So when you have those moments, I mean, like you had the Lion King moment, you had the Color Purple moment, you met Rowan, all those kind of things. And we've all had those kinds of experiences. But then you got to come back home and you got to wash the dishes. And you got to do the laundry and change diapers and, all the things.
All of that.
Schedule. How do you stay inspired, or where do you find your inspiration to remain or to keep your creative side fed? How do you...
Such a great question.
How do you keep that fed?
Sometimes I have to, I won't say put it away, but there are moments where you're just like, okay, right now in this season, this is what life is about now, and life is always going to be about washing dishes and laundry and everything like that, and all of that.
What do you mean you don't have a cook or a housemaid?
It's so crazy because people are like, oh, I thought you, I don't know why people think I'm so rich. I'm like, where did that? I mean, sometimes you get that idea, like you talk to people and they, you see them in the grocery store and they're looking at you like, why are you in the grocery store?
Because I need some food.
Because I need some food. I need to eat. But anyway.
And I'm getting this item on sale. Right. How about that?
Yes, I sure am. But I won't say put it away, but there are definitely seasons where if I'm too entrenched in it, everything else kind of goes by the wayside, So, and I mean, and I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. Yeah. I know I can get anxious because I'm so focused on like where I'm going, and I have to make sure that it's just always about balance. One thing for me that I know that I've had to accept too, because there have been times where I'm just like, okay, maybe I should just until Makai graduates, just not do anything creative. You know what I mean? Like I think about that because every time, we all understand. We understand.
Oh, yes.
But then you're like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a part of who I am. It is like really who I am.
Yeah,
and I mean, when I'm on stage, and I mean, when I'm writing, when I'm on stage, when I'm, you know, just talking, just having conversations about my creativity, it lights me up. That's when I feel the most alive. Yeah. And that's what I have to always remember. That's what keeps me inspired, is like remembering how I feel when I'm in those moments. You know, and I just always have to remember that, because I'll tell people that, and I'll be like, oh, I'm taking a little break. They'll be like, don't take a break for too long.
All right.
And I used to kind of distance, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, you don't know my life.
Yeah, right.
You don't understand. You don't tell me what I'm supposed to do. You know?
No, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
But then you have those moments where sometimes the spirit will just lead you into a direction. Like even with this, I didn't know. You know,
and let's can we please talk about this now?
Yes, please, come on.
Because. So there are 4 of you in the show.
Yes.
Amazingly, incredibly creative, talented. Do it.
Oh my God!
But you each play different facets of Nina. So which Nina do you play?
I am the Nina between 30 and 40 years old, where she really starts to become inspired and entrenched and just engulfed in the civil rights movement. I should say inspired by. Her music became, you know, a focus on the civil rights movement and upliftment and empowerment. You know, she realized love songs, you know, were not enough, and blues and everything. Like, she said, hey, there's really some major destructive things going on with my people, and I need something to say. So and so she used her music as a weapon. She was angry. So I am angry. I'm, you know, revolutionary.
Revolutionary Nina.
Revolutionary Nina. Yeah. So it's funny because when, you know, some of my friends come and they're like, whoa. Is it so not?
Yeah, right,
you know,
right.
I mean, I get, you know, I had that fire, you know what I mean? But it was through and I mean, her friends, all these people were passing away and getting killed and dying and oh my gosh.
I wanted to ask you, how many ways do you feel that your life parallels, or does your life parallel Nina Simone in any way? I only bring that up because I know she's black. She's black, and I know she's a mother. And she's creative. You know, and do you find that you can identify with her on any of those levels?
When I watched her, when I watched the Netflix documentary, What Happened, Miss Simone, there were definitely moments where I felt like, oh, I get that. You know, when she feels so. And I certainly can't even play a half an inch as well as she did on the piano. You know, I play enough to write a little song here or two.
Right.
But when she was in her zone, when she was in her zone, you know, and that's all you can think about. You know what I mean? Luckily for me and us in the time that we're living in, the record industry is now, it's just open. You know, I'm an independent artist. I can do whatever I want to do. I don't have a lot of all these people saying, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, and taking my money and all that or whatever.
They do it in different ways.
They do it in different ways. But I would say, you know, the mothering and the, you know, that kind of dichotomy of being a parent and also a creative, you know, a very, very creative person. Sometimes feeling like, how do I do these both equally as strong and as powerful? You know,
and that's one of the ideas we play with on the show. It's like you know, you can achieve mind-body balance, but this, you know, the title of the show is Harmonize, and playing with this idea of, rather than thinking of your life as something that you can balance, it's like, how do these things harmonize? Like you said, like, because this thing might take priority today, so these other things become background or supporting. And it's definitely something that she struggled with.
Yeah.
That you all, the show is so beautifully done.
Thank you.
Simply Simone on stage until October the 8th.
Yes, come and check it out. I'm going to be there. I'm going to fight all of you for the last couple of tickets. So I hope you can get back me and my moose kills. That's word for muscles.
And we will have links to buy tickets in the show notes. But I do have one last question before we let you go. Because we haven't really talked about this a lot. And you don't do like a whole lot on Facebook, but every once in a while you drop a post that says either encouragement for single mommies or support for single mommies. I want to know when you're writing a book.
You know what?
When's the book coming?
I guess that's the next project, because you
put a chapter in on why you're so fabulous. Right. Were you born this way, or do you have to work at it?
Oh my God.
Yes.
After 40, you got to really work. So,
that's for sure.
Thank you. But you know what? That must be my next project. I mean, you're not the first person to say, and I've thought about it too.
Yeah.
And that has to be something that I really prioritize, because I realized, and I mean, when I first started doing that, it was for me. I was like, okay,
absolutely,
I am so crazy. Let me write this down right. You know what I mean? Let me share it with somebody. Because I know, I mean, you meet. I know so many more mothers now. Now that I'm a mom, and we all talk about, and we're like, oh yeah, me too. You're going through that too. And I realized that that's another voice. That's another one of my voices. I mean, I actually went to school for English. I got my degree in English. So I really feel, I tell people this and they're like, whatever, because performing has been the thing that people know me as, but as a performer. But I write all the time, and I started off as a writer. I was I won't say extremely shy, but I was introverted. The only time I really was able to speak is, I mean, even with like presentations and things like that in school, I would be absolutely terrified. But put a costume on me and all that stuff.
Right.
I was fine. Yeah. So writing became my thing. I was like, okay, I can't really talk that well in front of people, but I'll write. So I do really feel that that might have to be my next project.
Yes,
when that
no
book
pressure.
Is dropped,
yes,
we
no
will
pressure.
Have you back on the show.
Yes, we will.
I would love to be back.
Thank you so much, Mariama, for giving us some of your time.
Thank you so much. And I do want to say this. Karamu is this is where I started everything. This is where I started voice lessons, where I started my acting lessons. I dedicate this show, Simply Simone, the music of Nina Simone, to my first acting teacher, Lauryn Boxley, who is here, and she's a legend of Karamu. And it's just really wonderful to be back in this space and in this theater, and the spirit here is so lovely and welcoming, and it's just really great to be back.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you,
ladies,
thank you so
for
much.
inviting us in on your time.
Oh, thank you.
It's right there. Don't you hide. We wanna see you shine. Ooh, we wanna see you shine. Oh, just open up. And find your light. It's deep in